Because sperm is cheap and eggs are expensive. That is the underlying evolutionary reason why females in most species where we see active mate choice, that is where individuals choose their partners or their mates, that is why we tend to see choosy females and less choosy males, because the eggs are expensive and the sperm is cheap to produce. Let's talk about it. So in most animals, the egg cells that females produce are the largest cells that species produces. In fact, in humans, the typical egg cell is several times larger than the next largest cell in a woman's body and 10,000 times larger than a typical male sperm cell. For example, in these superb fairy wrens, the female will produce one large egg per reproductive bout, right? And that one egg cell needs to be fertilized by a single sperm from this male. And yet this male produces enough sperm cells in a single ejaculate to fertilize all the eggs of all the female fairy wrens on the planet several times over. Sperm is cheap. And the reason why eggs are so large to begin with is that after fertilization, they have all the nutrients and minerals to get the growing embryo off to a good start. So eggs need to be large to provide the nutrients, minerals, and resources for the developing embryo. But then you lump on top of this already huge difference in energetic investment by females into eggs and energetic investment by males into sperm, lump on top of that already massive differential the fact that females, at least in mammals, then are pregnant for a certain amount of time, sometimes 2 years in elephants. And on top of that, they then nurse their offspring, right? Providing milk for their offspring for some duration after birth. So hopefully you're starting to see this adding up where females are investing massively in reproduction versus males. And that favors the evolution of being choosy. You quite literally have a resource that all the males want. And so you can afford to be choosy, and you should be choosy because you are invested so heavily in that resource that males are competing for. And so the bottom line is that in most sexually reproducing species where individuals actively choose their mates, females are selected to be choosier than males because quite literally from the very start of reproduction, the formation of sex cells, egg versus sperm, females are already differentially invested much more than males in reproduction. And so thus you set the stage for females having this precious resource in the form of their eggs and males having a fairly cheap resource in the form of sperm, which favors choosy females and less choosy males.